Welcome to part 2 of the presentation, Life Skills, Advice on Planning, Programming and Assessment. Part 2 presents 2 case studies which illustrate the decision-making process for a student to access life skills outcomes and content. In the first case study, an English teacher and special education teacher discuss the needs of a Year 7 student.
Justine, I'm glad you're here. Can I talk to you about Tom in my Year 7 English class? I have some concerns about his progress, and I think it might be appropriate for him to access life skills outcomes and content.
Sure, Brad. What are you concerned about?
I know Tom has Asperger's syndrome, and he finds it challenging to engage in any group work. I've paired him up with a buddy and ensure he works in the same group each time for consistency. He has a really clear set of guidelines to follow to help him interact appropriately in group situations.
That sounds great. I'm really glad the adjustments we discussed are working.
Yes, they seem to be working well. The problem at the moment is that I can't get Tom to engage in any writing. He can express his ideas orally, but won't write much down. Getting him to write any sort of extended response is almost impossible. I think you should be following the life skills outcomes and content, especially since I'm already using adjustments to assist him.
You write that before deciding if Tom should follow the English life skills outcomes and content, we need to explore other ways to assist him to achieve the regular course outcomes. We need to be really sure that Tom's difficulties are related to his cognitive functioning, and that even with adjustments, he won't be able to meet the Stage 4 English outcomes. I know you're using adjustments for group work, but how have you tried to support Tom's writing?
I haven't been able to do much at this point. I would really appreciate any advice you can give me.
Okay, do you know what stage Tom is working at for reading and writing?
It's a little hard to know for sure. He seems to have difficulty organising his ideas when writing. When I've questioned him about texts we have read in class, he seems to have strong literal comprehension skills, but has difficulties drawing conclusions and identifying inferences. I would say that Tom's working at stage 2-3 level for many of the English outcomes.
From what you've told me, I don't think life skills outcomes and content are an appropriate option at this stage. We at least need to gather more evidence of Tom's understanding and skills. I know that he loves working on the computer, so let's try and use this to facilitate his writing skills. We can prepare some scaffolds on the computer to help him plan his writing. We can also use some guided reading strategies to assist his comprehension. Let's try these adjustments and see how they go. We can reassess Tom's progress later in the year.
Sounds great. Thanks, Justine.
In the second case study, a Year 11 student's curriculum and support options are discussed by the Year 11 coordinator and special education teacher.
Hi Kelly. How have the Year 11 students settled into Term 1?
Hi Matt. They seem to have adjusted well with a few exceptions. I'm actually glad I caught you. I'm a bit worried about how Laila is coping with the academic demands of Year 11. I know she has an intellectual disability and has received some support in the past. A few of her teachers have already spoken to me about their concerns, and they wonder if she should be following life skills courses.
We are continuing to support Laila this year. What concerns do her teachers have about her progress?
Laila's literacy skills are preventing her from engaging in the more complex reading and writing demands of English, and she's having a lot of difficulties understanding the concepts explored in the text they're studying.
We have been working on Laila's literacy skills, and I know that she does struggle with exploring the concepts represented in texts. I was hoping that the support we've been giving her in English might have helped, but given her progress in this subject in Years 9 and 10, And so far in Year 11, it's probably time to discuss the possibility of English life skills with Laila and her family. Can we set up a meeting with her English teacher to talk about the options?
Sure, I'll set it up next week. Also, Layla's hospitality teacher feels that she's not keeping up with the competencies that the class is expected to demonstrate. Should she be following life skills in this course?
There is no hospitality life skills course, but because it's a vet course, we've got the flexibility to select the competencies that will be a priority for Laila. This will allow more time for her to work towards achieving those competencies. There may be some that she will not work towards at all, in which case she'll only be eligible for a statement of attainment.
Okay, I'll ask Layla's hospitality teacher to join our meeting next week.
Great. Then we can discuss our suggestions with Layla's family at her collaborative planning meeting.
Layla's textile and design teacher is also concerned about the assessment task Layla is currently undertaking. In fact, most of her teachers are commenting about the fact that they don't think Laila will be able to cope with the assessment tasks she has to do this year.
I know Layla's teachers are concerned about the assessment load, so we need to look at adjusting her assessment tasks first, before considering life skills courses.
Are we able to adjust assessment tasks in Stage 6? Won't that provide an unfair advantage for her? Wouldn't life skills courses be more appropriate as they remove the stress of formal assessments?
Life skills courses aren't just an option for eliminating assessment tasks. We need to be sure that the student is unable to achieve the outcomes of the regular courses first, and the best way to do this is by providing support and adjustments. Remember that we are submitting a grade to the Board of Studies for our Year 11 students. So regardless of the adjustments put in place for assessment tasks, we will still be able to judge Layla's progress at the end of the year in relation to the common grade scale for preliminary courses. In Year 12, we submit assessment marks to the board, but we can still adjust the tasks so that Laila can access them on the same basis as her peers.
Okay, I wasn't aware we could do that. That sounds like a much better idea.
Laila has a strong interest in textiles design, and the progress that she made in Stage 5 Textiles Technology indicates that, with support, she should be able to meet some of the outcomes of the Stage 6 course. I'll work with a textiles teacher on some appropriate adjustments for Layla's assessment tasks.
That would be great. Thanks, Matt.